Good evening and welcome to the Gin and Tonic Show. I'm your host, Moose, and I am joined by a very demonic entity over here, the Satan.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to be trying my best to do the producing here. I brought some of the material, adding my doubts, but because this topic is mainly Moose's realm, I'll try to keep my inputs purely to sex jokes.
All right, so in that case, Jinny's not here to, you know, mix the Zamzam water with the stick to whack you, but I will keep that stick for now. Like, I'll keep that stick for now. Sorry, Jinny, we're doing this without you because of our schedules currently. But yes, today's topic, I think you requested this topic, which was the indictment or the criminal activities of our recent convert, Mr. Abu Tate. Isn't that correct?
Yes, he has been doing a lot of Taqqiya, as they say in Islam, where you get to lie about things to help convert people. So, yes.
Lots of Taqqiya. And you know what's funny? Like, Taqqiya itself is the Hindi or Urdu word for pillow as well, too. So it's a very interesting like phenomenon. Like when I heard that term, like, are we talking about a pillow? And no, no, you're not gonna get any nerdy thoughts. No, no dirty thoughts.
Just like Zayn Malik, the
Boy,
British
boy,
fellow who made the Taqqiya talks or pillow talks.
boy. Calm down, boy. Calm down. Now, what we have here is an interesting. Do you have the file on you by chance? There it is, actually. Never mind, I found the file. How do I open this?
So would you like me to?
Yes, please. Can you share your screen?
For sure. I'm just going to play a quick video here before we get started of some lies of Andrew Tate. And it's. I'm getting a StreamYard ad as we're on StreamYard.
Wow. Oh, you're getting a StreamYard ad.
Yes, so I now have Andrew Tate's video here.
Yeah, now you have Andrew Tate's video.
I now have Andrew Tate's video here. I am going to share that.
You must continue to fight back and understand that they're not advertising their losses, but their losses are happening.
So how do you guys feel?
I'm very happy about what happened today. Essentially, a Romanian judge saved us, and the judge saw through it. She saw what this was. She saw it was just an attack vector, and she quite rightfully said, no.
But the Romanian judge did not find them innocent. Instead, she agreed to an extradition request from British police for allegations of rape and human trafficking, as I put to Andrew Tate tonight.
Because they are losing their ability to lie. Their entire structure, all of the castles are built of pure deception.
Just to clarify, I am accused of helping my friends get big on TikTok. That is what I'm accused of. I told some girls I know how to post on TikTok to become viral when I was at the time the most viral
Pause this.
and they are saying I'm a human trafficker for that reason.
You know what's interesting? Like he says, like it's a form of like he's gaslighting you, but like notice how he's wearing sunglasses here. Notice how he's wearing sunglasses because in the interview, his eyes would have revealed like his crimes.
Isn't that a technique a lot of criminals try to use in court or other press activities where they wear their glasses?
Absolutely. A lot of celebrities have used this as also like to hide their expressions because the eyes don't lie. The eyes reveal everything. And this is a body language cue. A lot of celebrities, a lot of famous people actually wear sunglasses because it makes no sense to wear sunglasses indoors, does it?
One might actually say that well, a lot of South Indian actors and such where the paparazzi is a lot, they actually say that it's to protect their eyes. Especially like there's this guy named Siddharth who was basically like, oh, this guy's like full of shit. There was a famous person that died. This guy went to pay his respects, and he comes out wearing shades. Then this guy was like, "Yo, everyone's trolling me on the internet." I just spent an hour and a half in there crying. My eyes are fucking red, and I came out, and the paparazzi's fucking throwing flash in my eyes. I need the glasses to protect my eyes when I just spent an hour and a half crying.
Yeah.
So you might pull like a Siddharth excuse here.
Yeah, like I mean, then even then, that's I find that more of an excuse because technically, like even famous people tend to hide what's. It's a tactic, basically. A lot of famous people use to hide what they're truly thinking because the eyes can reveal something that it's the only part of the brain that's visible and it can show what you're thinking. So he could have revealed himself as a liar, clear and cut in this interview. But let's continue. So, because he's okay, look at the charges. He's charged with physical violence, psychological coercion, intimidation, surveillance, control, false what's this? False debts, and they provided shelter for the people that were trafficked. That is. So yeah, let's continue.
Insane.
Well, we'll come to what you've been accused of. It's more serious than the way you've categorized it, but we'll come to that.
And,
I love how Piers Morgan just like cuts it right there.
yeah, it's I like how he at least kind of confronted him with this.
It's a house of cards. They can't lie. They need lies to prop up the lies.
Well, the fact that you're not accused of a sex crime or of violence, which I think most people don't really understand.
Yep.
And they can look it up.
Yep.
I mean, but you're not actually accused of
Correct.
rape,
Correct.
selling
What the
anyone,
fuck?
Correct.
pimping.
Correct.
Okay.
They tell a lie to get caught. They lie why they lied.
But why was
Then
why
they'll
was wait, who was that? What was Tucker Carlson like saying that?
Because Tucker Carlson, if you open up a dictionary and look at the definition of the R word, it's Tucker Carlson's face on it.
Man, and also, I've been noticing this. Why is he shirtless? Like all this time, why is this idiot shirtless? Like showing off his tattoos, showing off his tits, and
It's the same reason why you always wear a tank top when I come over to your house.
Shut up!
His mom and he's showing off his bobs and regime.
shut up. At least I'm covering my nips. This man is not even doing that. He is doing haram things according to Islamic law.
A lie about the lie that they used about why they lied in the first place. Then they'll come up with another lie to distract you from the first set of lies. Once they can't lie, it all falls apart.
And if you don't mind me asking, what did they try to pin you for?
They accused me of human trafficking. They accused me of using the lover boy method, which is convincing girls by being nice to do a job.
Like, pause there. UK during this time he engaged in physical violence and psychological coercions towards the victim, resulting from intimidation, surveillance, and control over the victim. The purpose of these actions was the sexual exploitation of the victim, facilitated with the assistance of NJ. Who is NJ again? You're on mute.
This is one of the bottom bitches that we talked about, the ex-cop.
NJ. Also the someone who's assisting him, that is.
The bottom bitch. One of the bottom bitches that's also a cop, remember? We were
Oh
looking for one of those little people.
Oh yeah, we're gonna read the report and see. We're gonna read the report and see because victim was forced to engage in pornographic activities in the production, distribution of pornographic materials using the website myfreecams.com, operating the username XXX during the period. Again, this kind of blurred it out.
Just for the audience's sake, Moose is a paralegal. He's licensed in Ontario to do it. And due to Romania's Freedom of Information Act, I was able to acquire the indictment along with the criminal code. And Moose is going to help us out by reviewing if what Emery Tate is saying is right or is clearly representing his case right or wrong, and then what are the punishments that he will face in front of a judge. So let's finish this video as
to take the money from the girls because I told two of my friends who are girls how to get big on TikTok.
That's why all of this happened to you?
Yeah. And now every time they say
I
anything, nobody believes.
I love how his eyes are. That's why they're after you. I think it's very sarcastic. I think I sense a little sarcasm.
I like the penises over here.
All right, let's continue.
Anymore, there's finally consequences coming. When you tell a lie, it takes exponential energy to propagate and promote and float that lie out in the universe. You have to repeat it so many thousand times to try and convince the slave populace it's true. When you tell a truth, you say it once.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my god.
Boy, shut the song. But yeah, this is actually very true though. Like, if you are following the Tate brothers still, if you're still defending them, you have no self-respect. This I agree with.
So Moose, with the information or at least the documents I have sent to you, can you give us a legal analysis of the indictment and what the actual charges are against in Romania against the Tates?
Okay. I'm just trying to open the document here. I have the Romanian criminal code with me. I'm just trying to see if you can. Where is it? Where is the?
Do you want me to send you the indictment again? I sent it to
Yes, please. Yes, please. To the WhatsApp. Can you send it to the WhatsApp? Hey, never mind. I was able to open it. I'm able to open it.
Ah, okay.
All right.
So what I will do is I will grab myself something to drink. As you do that, my mouth is all famished.
All right. So in this part, we're gonna be reviewing the indictment itself. So this is from the Romania Public Ministry Prosecutor's Office, and we're gonna go over the charges. The indictment date 2023 June 15th. So we'll start off with the big dog over here, Andrew Tate, or I'll just call him a big bitch. On the defendant Andrew Tate, it has been established that the actions of the defendant of Andrew Tate consist of the following. At the beginning of 2021, on the territory of Romania, together with the defendant Tristan Tate and defendants Luana Radu and Georgina Nadal, and they formed an organized social group with the purpose of committing on the territory of Romania and other states such as the United States of America and the United Kingdom, primarily the crime of human trafficking, through actions of recruiting victims carried out by the defendants, Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate, and subsequently their coordination through the actions of sheltering and transporting the victims, carried out by involving the defendants Luana Radu and Georgina Nagel, with the aim of obtaining significant sums of money by forcing the victims to engage in pornographic activities for the production and distribution of pornographic materials, using the website onlyfans.com for the purpose of, and by subjecting them to forced labor using the website tiktok.com, thus fulfilling constitutive elements of the crime, forming an organized criminal group as provided by Article 367, paragraphs 1, 3, and 6 of the Criminal Code. Now, I'll actually, because we verify this, I will actually take you to the Criminal Code to show you what Article 367 states. So I'm just going to share my screen. I'm just going to find 367. Okay, so we are in, okay, now this I'm at 113. What am I doing? Okay, it's a bit slow. Come on now, it's being a bit slow. My apologies, dear viewers. My apologies. I'm very, very, very bad with this. Okay, so we're on Article 367. What we're gonna find. Okay, so Article 367 is creation of an organized crime. So this is the act of initiating or creating an organized offense group, or of joining or supporting such a group in a way shall be punishable by no less than 1 and no more than 5 years of imprisonment and a ban on the exercise of certain rights. So subsection 1, they explain like paragraph 1, and then paragraph 3 of the criminal code states that if the acts set out in bar were followed by the perpetration of offense, the rules of concurrent offenses, like concurrence of offenses, shall apply. Like, just adding to the offenses status. And paragraph 6 states that you have an organized offense group means a structured group made up of 3 or more persons which exists for a certain time period in a coordinated manner for the purpose of perpetrating 1 or more offenses. So in this, just for creating this group, just basically creating an organized crime group, you're facing 1 to 5 years in prison, roughly speaking. Again, this is just the first charge status. So, and that's just a penalty. You know, in terms of like what the crimes that he's facing as. So, I actually recently discovered this too, Nick, that in order to create a organized crime group, you don't need a lot of people. You just need 3 or 4 people.
So basically, Culture Ginny, you and me together have created a criminal organization.
Well, technically, in many Muslim countries, yes, we would be considered an organized criminal group. That is, in certain Muslim countries. So yeah, that's that in itself is very interesting. Now, as we were also watching the videos earlier, so here it further adds the actions of defendant Andrew Tate consists of the following. In the period of 2016 and 2017, the defendant Tate, using applications while in Romania, recruited by deception the victim by falsely inducing her about the intention to establish a family marriage relationship and the existence of false feelings. In the period of 2017, the defendant transported her from the UK to Romania, as well as within the area of Dash, where he provided shelter for her in a building located as well as in Dash, as well as in the territory of the United Kingdom in the period Dash 2018 to something 2018. During this time together with a person named Dash, they subjected the victim to physical violence and psychological coercion, resulting from the actions of intimidation, surveillance, and control with the aim of sexually exploiting her, force her to engage in pornographic activities for the production and distribution of pornographic materials. We're using this a webcamming site. The victim activates this through the account username, so they provide the username, and during this period. Now there's more victims. This is just the first victim. There's more victims from 2022 as well. False, again, same pattern. Recruited by deception, falsely inducing her to the intention of marriage or a cohabitation relationship, existence of false feelings. So he's using the boyfriend method to, like, similar to the case that we reviewed last time with the what do you call it, the grooming gang status. This is similar, very, very similar. And from the period of 2022 with the defendants Luana Rodu and Georgina Nagel by exercising physical violence, physical coercion resulting from the actions of intimidation. They provided shelter, transported her from the UK to Romania. So this is another victim from the UK, by the way, subjecting her to forced labor, engage in pornographic activities at the onlyfans.com to attract over 1,000 followers. And then he has another 2021. This is another victim established a more same thing using the boyfriend method by exercising psychological coercion, surveillance, and invoking false debts. Like, oh, you owe me this. They provided shelter to the victim, building the aim of sexually exploiting her. They transport her within the area and subjecting her to forced labor. So that's 3 victims. The 4th victim in 2021 again, recruited by deception. This is also using the people Luana Rodu and Georgina Nagel are apparently these are police officers. That is 2 female police officers, or they're what you call them
So they're also the bottom bitch in the organization.
Yeah. So in this transaction, like this is another victim. They've been using in like violence to subject the victim, exercising psychological coercion, intimidation, surveillance, control, invoking false debts, with the aim of sexually exploiting her, forcing her to do pornographic activities, subjecting to forced labor, and in the website in TikTok. It's also attracting 1,000 followers, by the way. These actions fulfill the constitutive elements of the crime of human trafficking in a continuous form, as provided in Article 210, Paragraph 1, Letter A of the Criminal Code, Article 3A182, Letters A and C, and with the application of Article 35. So let's review these articles. During these periods, they described. So we're going to be applying these articles. So let's look at article. Let me just open up Article 210 for a brief moment. This is okay. I'm gonna stop sharing this, and I'm gonna present the criminal code itself. So we're at 210, right? Trafficking in persons. So the trafficking in persons, the charge is the paragraph 1, letter A of the criminal code. So the paragraph 1 is recruitment, transportation, transfer and harboring, or receipt of persons for exploitation purposes. And by A, by means of coercion, abduction, deception, or abuse of power. So there's definitely elements of abuse of power, and there's definitely coercion, and there's definitely abduction from the United Kingdom and deception as well involved. From the United Kingdom to Romania, this victim was taken. Now, 182 is where we see that the application of 182. So let's go back upwards to 182. So 193. I know we're looking at. Don't get any ideas, viewers. Don't get any ideas of you looking at these crimes. All right. So 182 is the exploitation of a person status. And for the exploitations of a persons, the letters A and C, forcing a person to carry out works or tasks, and then forcing into prostitution, pornography, and in view of obtaining distribution pornographic material or any 2 other types of sexual exploitation. Now, we're going to also see what charges they face for this. So Article 35, Paragraph 1 would be applied to this. So I'm going to open up Article 35, and we're going to see that. One second. So it's a paragraph. Which one is it? Okay, there it is. 35, paragraph 1. So unity of a continued offense of a complex offense. So an offense is continued when a person commits at various intervals of a realization the same resolution and against the passive subject, actions or inactions have the content of the same offense. So this is like kind of like combining the offenses themselves too. So wait, where did it say about the for materials? So okay, Article 218 as well too. My apologies. I actually jumped the gun a bit. My apologies. So he's also charged with. I'm gonna also open up this as well. My apologies. Okay. The actions of the consist of the following. On date, he coerced the victim, exerting verbal pressure, and intensified the entire factual count to engage in normal and oral sexual relations. Of the date in a building, coerced the victim by exerting physical, psychological, and verbal violence. So also fulfill the constitutive elements of crime of rape in a continuous form in 2 material acts, 2 incidents, as provided by 218, paragraph 1, and application of 35, paragraph 1. All of the above are subject to the application of Article 38 regarding the real concurrence of offenses. So, Article 38 states that there are multiple violations, and generally they've been committed by the same person before receiving a final conviction. So they have to actually combine all these together. Yes, so concurrent offenses, that is. Now,
I got a question here. This is where Andrew Tate says that they didn't have cases and they dropped it and only one exists. Can you explain why that is a straw man of the situation?
Because here's the thing. It's not just one offense. There's so many offenses of the same nature that the Romanian court decided to combine them together and charge him concurrently. That is like in terms of like, so it's not. I would say like it's also another word for it is what's another word for it? I keep forgetting.
Consolidation.
Yeah, you could say that. Okay. It's kind of like, yeah, like you said, straw manning, but also like kind of like he's it's a half truth, so to speak. Like sure, like it's combined into one offense. So the way he frames it, it's like
so essentially, this is a straw man argument because the definition of straw man argument is that he creates a weaker version of the opponent's argument and then dismisses that non-existent thing. So it's not that they dropped the 5 charges; it's they consolidated the 5 charges.
Yes.
So he's misinterpreting the argument that we're bringing, and then he's demolishing that in his view, aka straw man.
Yes, and
so
that's
the textbook definition.
Right, and that way it would make him seem better than it actually is, to his followers. So, by the way, I finally found the sentence. So, sexual intercourse perpetrated by constraint. This in itself will be charged of 3 and no more than 10 years of imprisonment. That is, and there have been 2 instances that he's actually committed. So he's facing 6 to 20 years, bare minimum, in prison for the charge of the what do you call it? The assault charge or rape charge, that is. And again, they've used the legal term rape as well, so as a legal term in Romanian law. So we are able to use the term rape. Or let's
use the word grape.
Grape. Okay, yeah, let's use the word grape. So This is basically the charge that he could potentially face 6 to 20 years easy. And this is on top of like preceding charges of forming an organized crime group, that is. So the judge can add these sentences up. So he's looking at a long time so far. That's what it looks like. And the crimes don't even stop. So, because we have also Tristan Tate as well, too, involved in these crimes. So Tristan Tate himself, like, let's just look at Mr.
So we
Tristan
have
Tate.
Bada Tate and we have Chota Tate.
Chota Tate. We have Bada Tate, which is bigger Tate, and then Chota Tate, which is like smaller Tate, that is. So
we have Motu Tate and Chotu Tate.
Boy, don't describe us, boy. Well, it's debatable which one of us is actually true mortar, you know? It's debatable because we're technically both in the same category.
But just as Moose and I might look similar sizes, but I got the largest micro penis in Toronto.
Boy, stop insulting yourself, boy. Boy, down. All right. Now, regarding Mr. Tristan Tate, that is, with the defendant Andrew Tate, formed an organized crime group pursuant to like Article 367. So it's almost the same crime. They carried out these offenses, actions of Tristan Tate, like again, recruiting by deception. So he has also defendant from USA was recruited by deception, moved like from 2022 using, of course, they exerted psychological coercion. They transported her from the USA to Romania. So this is a US victim. Similar thing in 2021. Oh, by the way, using the website OnlyFans. So they're using the sites OnlyFans and TikTok to pimp out these girls. Like this is the modern pimp. Tristan Tate also recruited by deception, by falsely inducing her about the intention of marriage or cohabitation, subjecting her to forced labor for 12 hours live on TikTok with only a 5-minute break. This in itself, labor law would apply to this as well, too. So he could be charged for this as well. Following multiple meetings in the area through the witness recruited by deception. Again, similar charge. 12 hours, barely any break. They constitute of human trafficking, paragraph 1, letter A of the criminal code, and then A and C, and then application of paragraph 1. So he's also facing similar charges. Tristan Tate also is the one who instigated the defendant, Georgina Narel, as well as the defendant, to commit acts of physical violence. So in this case, he wasn't necessarily committing the acts himself, but rather he's instigating the other two to commit these acts. So this is where Article 47 would apply if instigating assault and in relation to Article 193, paragraph 1 of the Criminal Code. So Article 47, let's see Article 47. So, okay. There's a lot of stuff to go through. This is why we don't. I should get paid more for this. See how much material I have to go through. So yeah, it's I'm just opening 193. Okay, so let me just present. Okay, so the indictment did say that Article 193, paragraph 1 of the Criminal Code would be applied, which would mean that it is the battery of violence causing physical suffering shall be punishable by no less than 3 months and no more than 2 years of imprisonment or by a fine. So 2 years that can be added on top of the existing crime, of course, of forming the organized crime group, the assault charges, And also we have Article 47 that we need to apply as well, which is, I'm just looking at, all right, 44, 46, 47 is an instigator. An instigator is a person with direct intent determines another to commit an act stipulated by criminal law. So yeah, just interpreting these, this establishes him as an instigator. Mr. Tristan Tate, if you've noticed, Mr. Tristan Tate was more of an instigator rather than, the actual participant in a lot of these crimes. I think you were telling me something about that.
Yeah, he's the one that facilitates and threatens it from the back end as opposed to actually doing it, where Andrew Tate takes the actual responsibility on the crown.
Yeah. So in that aspect, he would be like, he's also charged with instigating as well. So I think he might face might actually face a greater charge than Mr. Tate himself, Tristan, because of instigating. But also, Andrew has the charges of rape added or grape added onto him, whereas Tristan is the instigator. These charges added on to Tristan. So let's see what other things the indictment does say. So, Article 38 applies. Regarding the defendant Georgina Nagel, who has been established that the action of the defendant of Georgina Nagel, who on 2021, together with the defendant Tate, for the committee, forming the organized crime, this would, Article 367 would apply. And by the way, remember Mr. Tate's subjecting of recruit, like the trafficking itself can also have like multiple years adding on to it, so potentially they could even face like 20 plus 30 plus years or 50 years rather for each of these crimes. So with Georgina Nagel, who's by the way, can you tell me a bit more about Georgina Nagel? Like, what was her history?
So she's basically the bottom bitch that she's the first one that they recruit.
Mhm.
The way Andrew Tate explains it is that she's the one that he takes around and he has like the date, and she's the one that actually explains like the cam girl experience. Oh, why don't you try it out? You can do it with me. We'll get together. And Georgina will get the girl drunk, like super hammered,
Mhm.
having her like take off her clothes, give her passport, whatever is needed. Then they use that to blackmail her to start doing the cam business for them. So Georgiana is like basically the one that Tate tells her to go and get it done, but she actually pulls the trigger there.
Wow, so she's kind of like his gunman of sorts. Of purpose. So here she's charged with, forming an organized crime, distribution of pornographic materials, subjecting them to forced labor, forming an organized criminal group. So articles in the period of 2021 through applications and following defendant Tristan recruited by deception. So together, so Georgina exerted physical coercion, resulting in acts of intimidation. Again, this victim was transported from USA to Romania. Then there's one with the defendant Andrew Tate through the Instagram application. Following meetings, UK recruited by. Boy, what was that? Shut up, boy. I keep quiet, boy. Let's
You gotta
focus
play
on
the
this.
Andrew Tate music.
Boy, you know what? This is actually not as bad as your other jokes. It's not as bad. All right. Invoking false debts. And that is what you were explaining earlier. Like, like the blackmailing is the invocation of false debts. That is. So, like, using her to like get her to do stuff as well, too. So a lot of this from 2021, like it said here, deception, recruiting by deception, existence of false feelings. And then there's another one following multiple meetings in the area of, so there's many areas that he's recruited these victims, recruited by deception. And it's funny too, like Romania has very weak laws against sex crimes, and yet this idiot ended up like getting himself charged. These idiots. These actions fulfill the constitute elements of human trafficking in a continued form. 6 material acts, as provided in Article 10, letter A, paragraph 1, letter A, Article 182, letter A and C, with the application of Article 35, paragraph 1. So, with Article 35, as we stated earlier, is the fact that, offense is continued, the unity of continued offense and of a complex offense. So a lot of these are combined together. That is, it's the plurality of the offenses. That is. So, by the way, my apologies if this sounds like gibberish. Also, this is an interesting charge. Article 360, unauthorized access to a computer system. So we're going to look at Article 360, paragraphs 1 and 3. So Georgina Nagel has been charged with the Article 360. I'm just going to see Article 360. Okay, so the charges they face, stop screen, present, share screen. So Georgina herself faces without right to a computer system shall be punishable by no less than 3 months and no more than 3 years of prison by a fine. So 3 years, and added that 3 years. And then third, acts that was perpetrated on a computer which through processes access is restricted, prohibited, shall be punishable by no less than 2 years, and adding 7 years of imprisonment. So Georgina could also face more of a lot of time in prison as well too. By the way, what kind of system did she try to access? If you can explain, did she try to log into somebody's account?
She tried to log into someone's account and take portions of their pay. I don't know if this is what she did exactly, but Andrew was saying about how he would say that the girls had to pay 50% tax when it's actually 30%, and the 20% he'd take on top of the regular fees he's taking.
Wow.
So she as the bottom bitch probably had access to financial details as well, and she was probably doing this dirty work for him and his behalf.
Interesting. So this is because what we had read in the indictment is that she without authorization accessed the account of this person on the account belonging to the injured person using their name and a secure password. It's the offense of using someone's password to get their financial information and stuff. That in itself is an offense of unauthorized access to a computer system. There's also Article 362, which applies as well. So 362, which says altering computer data integrity. Altering, deleting, or damaging computer data or restricting access to such data without right shall be punishable by no less than 1 and more than 5 years of imprisonment. So in terms like the 5 years, the 1 to 5 years can also be added on by the judge to the charges as well too, as per the offenses, that is. So let's just show what I actually had just read. So let's see here. So this is Georgiana, by the way, who unlawfully modified a computer data attached to the account by inserting photographs, capturing the injured person, engaged in, as well as inserting the message dash meets the concept elements of the offense data integrity alteration. So she used this person without authorization, kind of pretended to be this person. So Article 362 applied. So it's called altering of computer data integrity. So she could face 5 years in prison for this as well. The act defendant Georgina Nagel consisted the fact that on the date instigated by defendant committed acts of physical violence. So assault in itself, paragraph 193, paragraph 1 and 38 of 1 in regards to concurrent evidence. So 193, I remember what we stated in 193. I think it was, um, 1 second. Yeah, so 193 was battery or any acts of violence causing physical suffering shall be punishable by no less than 3 months and no more than 2 years in prison.
And I think this is where we have. I don't know if my memory is weak here, but I don't know if you differentiated between battery and assault.
Yes. So assault is the threat of the action. Battery itself is defined by the action itself.
So saying "I'll kick your fucking ass" is assault.
Mhm.
Actually kicking someone's ass is battery. If you tell them that you're going to kick their fucking ass and then do it, that's assault and battery.
Yes.
Typically, it's assault and battery that happens because they say, well, I don't, for me, ethically speaking, I wouldn't charge people with assault and battery because if they say I'm going to assault them by saying I'm going to kick your fucking ass, they live up to their promise. Then I don't want their fucking ass kicked for living up, meeting the promise that they made. But essentially, that's a difference between.
Yeah.
But
no.
sometimes the reason why battery is separate, I'm assuming, is sometimes people don't like announcing
Mhm.
that they're gonna like kick their fucking ass.
Of
Sometimes
course.
they just like put their hand or something on their shoulder, and that still counts as battery if it's unconsensual.
It's yeah. So any form of unconsensual touch is battery in itself. Non-consensual, if it makes the person uncomfortable or hurts them in any way.
Why is it then called sexual assault and not sexual battery?
Now, sexual assault in itself is by definition a different crime. That is, I think in terms of like how the legal professionals describe it, let's actually read the definition in the criminal code, shall we? So
Sorry to like ask such a head ass question.
yeah, no problem. So because in sexual assault, threat is also involved as well too. So in terms of like, I'm just opening up the Canadian Criminal Code. 1 second. Sexual assault criminal code. Yeah, I'm just going to open up the criminal code, like different pages of the criminal code of Canada. Now we're going to go to Canada. Screen, because, you know. So here we are. So a sexual assault with a weapon to a third party or causing bodily harm. Like this is the title. Every person who commits an offense is committing sexual assault. A, carries or uses, threatens a weapon, threatens to cause bodily harm to a person other than the complainant, causes bodily harm, chokes, suffocates, or strangles the complainant, or is a party to the offense of the person. So the reason this is called, like, there's a lot of, I think because the terms can be used interchangeably as well too. Let me actually read the other the punishment for the offense itself. So I know it's called like, there we go. Everyone who commits sexual assault is guilty of an indictable offense more than 10. Yeah, so not more than liable to prison term for not more than 10 years, or if the complaint is under the age of 16 years, no more than 14 years. So it also depends on the age too. So why use the term? Now your question is, this is a good question actually. Why the term sexual assault? So it's kind of like, I'm trying to see the definition. Okay, because it has a broader category too. There's a lot of things that come under sexual assault. That is attempted touch, even, for example. because even the attempt of the touch can be constituted as sexual assault. The rape itself is the crime itself. Like rape is, or grape is seen as the crime, right? So the sexual assault is even fondling, unwanted touch, forcing a victim to perform sexual acts. So it's like, even because sexual assault gets more broader in that aspect. That's why it's a more of an assault in that aspect, because it can involve threats, it can involve just even physically forcing, but not the penetration hasn't happened yet. But it can also include like an attempted rape as well too. So I think that's why the terminology is used as sexual assault. That is how Canada defines it. Like Canada defines it in a very broad term, because Canada says it's all unwanted sexual activity. Even unwanted kissing is considered sexual assault. Like I'll give you an example. Mindy Kaling, in an interview, she said, "Oh, I just kissed a fellow actor, right, without his consent." Like that was considered assault, sexual assault. She didn't grape the person by definition, but the act of just kissing is enough to warrant assault.
So when R. Kelly peed on the girls, that's sexual assault.
Exactly. It's not necessarily the penetration, but also it's like any other sexual act can be included in this. And sexual activity is only legal when both parties are consented. So, and again, the consent is the key here. So, because like it's so broad, like assault is so broad, like even the threat of it is considered a crime.
Now, why doesn't BDSM? Sorry for my questions, but why doesn't BDSM fall into this?
Boy, okay. The reason BDSM doesn't fall into it is because there's consent involved of the parties. The key element is consent, and also in BDSM you use the safe word, for example. And again, if BDSM does not fulfill these two elements, such as consent of the parties, an agreement, safety, safe words, and the taker or victim generally has more power in that dynamic. If these elements aren't satisfied, then it can become assault, potentially. But these elements have to be satisfied, which is the, what do you call it? Consent. The biggest one is consent. So consent would differentiate from assault. All right, and I think that has cleared up the definitions. This is my time spent in legal school. All right, so let's get back to the
Yes, Daddy.
indictment. Yeah,
I was just saying yes, Daddy.
boy, I'm gonna whack you with the stick. Whack down, boy, down, down. No, not these sounds. Okay, I wish Jinny were here to whack you, because he whacks you a little better. Anyway, so now we just finished the Georgina Nagel, because yeah, so now it's Luana Radu. Another one of the, because this is a group of four: Tristan Tate, Andrew Tate, Georgina Anna, and Luana formed an organized crime group. And again, they're going to be charged with forming an organized criminal group. And I think we discussed the sentencing for that. Just forming the group itself is a criminal act. So the criminal act itself will be a separate charge compared to like the activities that they've done. So one second, I'm just going to read this one more time. So about 5 years, you can at least end up, in prison. That is, if what do you call it? usually in creating of an organized group, if the offenses are punishable by a term of imprisonment exceeding 10 years, then you can get an additional 10 years of imprisonment as well, or 3 to 10 years of imprisonment. Um, so it also depends on like the crimes the group has committed as well too. So these offenses on all four of them can be added on. So we'll have to wait on the final decision of the judge. So yeah, like we said here, forcing victims to engage in pornographic activity, subjecting them to forced labor on TikTok, OnlyFans, you know, against articles through sections 136. So like we said earlier, it's, you know, 6 would state that like this, the group is committing more, also one or more offenses. So the purpose of this group is not just one, but it's like more offenses. And then we also have, like I said, this is another victim from USA, recruited by deception. The same victims are involved here, but the aim of it was subjecting her to forced labor. Like, you know, they provided shelter for this victim. So recruiting by deception. There's a lot of, like, again, the repeated offense forcing her to engage in pornographic activity.
So where in this page does it say that he's been hiring them for TikTok?
In here. So, so it, like you said, I'm only hiring them for TikTok, right?
Yeah.
So technically he is, but he's also using pornographic materials and using the OnlyFans website as well. So they have used the website TikTok, but only as a platform. But here's the thing though. He made her go live on TikTok for 12 hours without only a 5-minute break. That's, you know, that's forced labor. Like forced labor, and also that you're also breaking some labor laws as well too, forcing a person to go live for 12 hours straight. So it's not about getting, he's not, so his big fat lie was, I'm just helping them get famous on TikTok. No, you're fucking forcing them to be on TikTok for 12 fucking hours for the purpose of attracting, like, and on top of that, using OnlyFans as well. So, and using it's the production of distribution of pornographic materials. And you're using your providing shelter for this victim, you're transporting this victim, as we stated earlier. Many of these times, these victims have been transported, recruited by deception, transported from one country to another, United States to Romania, or the United Kingdom to Romania. So this is, and also you've used the intention. You are not saying, I'm helping you get famous on TikTok. No, your intention is to establish a cohabitation relationship and using false feelings to attract the victim, the boyfriend method. So there's more details here that Mr. Tate does not like to admit. So this piece of garbage, using these two brothers pieces of garbage, using 2 other ladies, pimped out these girls, not just using TikTok, but also OnlyFans and other webcamming websites as well too. And they've met the elements of human trafficking. So here, there's the decree by the government for Andrew Tate. He's been charged with forming an organized criminal group, Article 367, human trafficking, Article 210, and there's different charges of different victims. Rape and a 2 material acts, so 2 acts. And what do you call it? And he's under house arrest. They are currently under house, referring to trial under house arrest of the defendant for committing the offenses. So these are the list of offenses: forming an organized group, human trafficking, and these are the 4 examples provided: grape, and these are the 3 big offenses. With Tristan, forming an organized crime group, human trafficking, and instigation of assault to or other acts of violence. These are his 3 crimes. Georgiana, forming an organized crime group, human trafficking, and unauthorized access to computer system, alteration of computer integrity, and assault or other acts of violence. With Luana Radu, forming an organized crime group and human trafficking. So all of them are charged with human trafficking and forming an organized crime group. So these are the acts of our Muslim brother, Mr. Abu Andrew Tate, for which many of his followers say, oh, his crimes will be forgiven once he accepts Islam. And these are still his crimes, by the way. We aren't even touching the casinos, boy. We haven't even touched the casinos.
I mean, in the eyes of Prophet Muhammad, all this stuff makes sense.
If anything, remember Ginny and I did the episode of the grooming, right? We wouldn't, even though there's sex slavery, for example, there's sex slavery. Pimping is not allowed, though. Sex slavery is, but not so much pimping, though. The trade, yes. So the crime is different. The crime is a bit different, but he's recruiting by deception. With Muhammad, he literally captured them, straight up.
So he's the true Sigma male.
This man, Tate, is beta compared to Muhammad. I'll just say that, though.
So in
by the way,
BDSM terms.
No. I'll let me rephrase that. He's a pussy compared to Muhammad.
Compared to Muhammad, Andrew Tate's a cuck. C for cuck.
Cuck, a pussy, and also coward compared to Muhammad. At least Muhammad went to battle and confronted people.
It's A for Andrew, B for bitch, C for cuck.
But yes, in terms of are these acts Islamic? You can make a case and say no, because it's more of a because human trafficking isn't, there's different forms of human trafficking in Islamic law, but it's through
Can't you just follow the kafala system and then all his sins will be washed away?
No, because kafala is more of an Arabian guarantor type of system. That's more of a.
He's adopting these poor women. There's a hole in them, and he's filling it.
Boy, whack. No. All right, I walked right into that, didn't I? All right, so potentially, I'm thinking so according to 367, just for the forming the group itself, 5 to 10 years in prison, for forming the group itself, and for human trafficking, I'm just looking at the offenses, that is 182, 210, and 182. Sorry, I'm just looking at the offenses again. Boy. All right, so I know they at least you filled the air. So trafficking itself would potentially, I would say it can be punishable for 3 to 10 years as well, too, trafficking. And there's 4 cases of trafficking, 3 to 10 years, so 12 to 40 years. Actually, 4 cases for Andrew Tate, 12 to 40 years he could potentially face, according to Article 210. And,
hopefully he has multiple years in prison that he can meet his fellow Muslim converts inside.
Let me just share it once again, like just to clarify. That is just so again, unlike some Dawa channels, we actually make references. We verify the information. So all of this shall be punishable by no less than 3 and no more than 10 years of imprisonment. That is, and I think with 182 with Andrew Tate, he was also charged with um, like exploitations of persons. So Article 182 as well, forcing into prostitution, and so this in itself has a different, might even have an additional charges as well too, which the judge can determine. So on top of that, I think Tate was also charged with I think, yeah, so there's 4 instances, and then I'm just looking at Tate's charges. 1 second. Yeah, like just forming the group, as well as like the 4 sentences, as well as like the assault or the grape crime as well too. He could face prison time for the grape crime as well, and I'm looking at the crime right now because like it's showing me not Tristan Andrews, sexual relations. So yeah, that in itself will be yeah. I'm just like not yeah. There's no like specified time period that's provided by the criminal code that I'm seeing, but it'll be up to the judge for sure to determine the offense. But already he's facing like a bunch of 12 to 40 years at least for trafficking. That is. So that should be like, given that the judge can combine these sentences, these can add up.
Yeah. So thank you, Moose, for the analysis of Andrew Tate's crimes and the reaction to the video. So this, I think we can say our closing words. For me, I think Andrew Tate's a fucking asshole. He's always been a liar. Something's always been off about listening to his stuff before even these crimes came up. But now that these crimes are out in the open and seeing how he's trying to twist and turn it, you can tell he's scared. That's my view. Moose, any closing words?
I agree, though. The reason he's trying to twist it around is because of the fact that, like, using his public platform, he's trying to influence people. Like, no, this is not like, because he is scared. He is definitely scared of the charges he could potentially face. Because we just went over the charges, and there's a lot. There's a lot, and given that, despite Romania having lax laws when it comes to punishing, he's still facing a lot of charges. Even it's that bad. It's so bad. If this were the UK or the United States, these are consecutive life sentences right here. So, like more than 10 plus years per victim. So, like so many life sentences that he could face in the United Kingdom or the United States. So, and even then, like he's getting it off easy, and he's still scared. But my hope is the judge gives a good sentence. I would personally, I would have this man executed, personally speaking. But again, I'm not a violent Islamist. I'm not a violent terrorist. Calm down, CIA. Calm down. But yeah, these are my closing words. Thank you so much, viewers, for joining us today. And we will do do other topics in the coming weeks. We will await like some submissions, not submissions, more like request status from different viewers, what we would like to cover.
Definitely. And Moose, I'm ending the recording.